Frozen Grounds 9/26/2009 2. Odin, kannst du das lassen? Ich weiß nicht, wie wir die Deutschen weißen, aber ja. Haha. Dankeschön, du bist ein guter Bruder und sehr cool. You always mention death, and I started listening to them, and they rule. And of course, Mayhem, and Dark Funeral, and Bursum, etc. Have you heard of Nile? But yeah, James and I are planning our trip to Finland, hopefully for this winter. We're really serious about it, too. We're going to get money together over the summer, and yeah, I can't wait. I, too, have the dream of living in the Scandinavian countries. I see you and Tor both talk about that a lot. Even though I think Tor hates me, him and I share a lot in common. But yeah, I hear Messenger of Loki is causing all these problems about coming home again. Urgh! I bid thee farewell, and best of luck during the harsh reign of Hjörnir. Haha. Meili, June 10, 2006. Hey Odin, let's hang out today. Tor, June 15, 2006. Hey Odin, how's it been? Heathen regards. Tor, July 6, 2006. Well, I would dictate my ideas, but I don't think they would agree with some people. Tor, July 7, 2006. What the hell's with your quotes? Tor, July 14, 2006. Haha, nice new videos. I'm sorry I couldn't hang out today, man. It was busy. Yeah. So, about the Cannibal Holocaust, is that a real movie of people getting eaten alive? And what does snuff film mean? I think you would like ogrish.com. Tor, July 15, 2006. Haha. Well, it seems that you once again changed your profile. The About Me, interests, books, music, etc. From truly disturbed to a more pleasant understanding in oneself, being described to others from lack of sleep, possibly? How's it going with that matter? I have yet to ask you when you don't have work, so we can complete what extensive progress we made last time through our communication deal. Ha ha ha. Tor, July 21, 2006. Haha, yeah man. You should try camping during this winter in the Kali Mountains. When you get a tent, observe your environment while camping so that next time you go, you will not want to bring it, and in turn result in making your own shelter. Living out in the wilderness will really keep you busy. It doesn't get lonely because you're always trying to improvise and create a better environment for survival. It's definitely a way of literally leaving everything and not having much worries. You should try it. But if you're out for too long, you sometimes really consider never leaving. It's addicting. The info I'm giving you is from personal experience and books I've read and people I have talked to. You know the bums on the streets? You would be very surprised how many have left society here in the States because they believe what we do. But more strongly, so they leave forever. The bums around here in the urban areas stay because they're either retarded and don't know anything, or extremely smart and have given up trying to live the life of a normal person. The ones who leave forever leave because they do not care for the modern world, and the ones who live in the urban areas stay for reasons that none has ever told me. I think they think trying to explain would be a waste of time. These people are very fun to talk to. They know so much and are absolutely amazing. Next time you see one, try to start a conversation, but not with the mentally retarded ones. They're violent and are just completely insane, as in not conscious of the world around them. Well, anyways, yeah, I always wanted a name change. My grandma recently accidentally called me Matthias, which is Matthew in German, so now I'm proud to formally introduce myself to everyone as Matthias Putnam. And the Vikings of the time also added things like Bjorn, Bear, and other masculine names to the end of their real last name. So I'm taking that into consideration. Tor, September 15, 2006. Dude, today was fucking awesome. Too bad we didn't battle much, but it's better to have caught up and established ourselves better first. Hopefully sometime next week or whatever's good. Haha, and I see you've met my friend Lars. He's a good man. Talk to you later. Tor, September 19, 2006. Regardless if you've heard this before, Odin, you're becoming a MySpace whore. Ha ha ha. Every time I log on, you're on. Ha ha ha. Well, whatever. Tor, September 23, 2006. Hey, Elsa. Are we still good for tomorrow, 12:15 afternoon at my house? Or do you have other plans? If not, then bring your sword and a few good CDs. Tor, September 27, 2006. Helse, yes, it indeed was. I forgot that I have archery equipment. That's what we could have done while we were pondering on the next activity. Haha. Good choice for pictures. They look awesome. Tor, September 29, 2006. Hey man, when would you like to hang out again? Tor, October 13, 2006. Wow dude, why did you quit? I'm sure it's not for the same reasons as Pizza Hut. Well man, I just got back from a hike and I would be willing to go again. Though you said you weren't really in the most healthiest of conditions. Usually anything I do is physically demanding. Why is it that you think you could not do anything when it comes to this? Well, regardless, I'm sure you would enjoy fishing. But to tell you now, you have to wake up at around 5 because that's when they really start to bite, and I stay until around noon or 4 past. If you are willing to do this, then I'm up for it. I have all the equipment, so it's up to you. If you go camping, you have to be very fit for that if it's more than 2 days. You need to be in good shape and ready for such a thing. I'm going in a couple weeks for about 2 to 10 days up in the mountains where it's cooler and a fire is nicer to have and live off of. But I'm sure you could not do that, or I could be wrong. I'm just telling you, for an extended period of time like that, it would be very difficult, especially if you haven't done it before. If you come over, I'm sure we could find something to do. You still need to see this movie I have, and we could do some archery. And if you're up to it, we can plan out a trip of some sort. Camping, fishing, hiking, etc. I think Thursday is a good day for me. Is around 1100 before noon good for you? Tor, October 13, 2006. Good to hear. I coached some people while I was in strength training a couple years ago. I could get you ripped and fit in less than a month if you wanted me to, but that would be fully up to you. I could get your strength up by threefold and your cardiovascular system up fivefold. It would be a little bit of hard work on your part, but it could be done with relatively fair ease. You'll feel fucking amazing, I assure you. Ha ha ha. So yes, Thursday at 11 is great. At my house, Tor, October 13, 2006. You have been on the comp the whole day, man. I've logged in about 10 times since this morning, and all times you have been on. Ha ha. You should have come over today to avoid this. Tor, October 14, 2006. You went hiking, man? That's awesome. I love the weather today. It made me think I was in Europa at some points when I was walking around in the rain. It was a great feeling. MySpace is gay, man. I hate it. The only reason I have mine is to talk to people from all over Europa and to keep in touch with friends. I try not to go on too much, but my life is so boring that I have nothing else to do. Don't get rid of yours. I found that if you have things to do, you will not go on as much. Sure, man, you can come over tomorrow. We can go back to Lake Wolford, and I will show you the great trails all around the lake, if you like. It's a pretty good hike around the whole thing. Much to do. When would you like to come over? When would you like to come over? It's better to go earlier when the air is fresher and the weather is more cloudy. Good hiking conditions. Tor, October 14, 26. Yes, tomorrow will be mostly cloudy with a few thunderstorms. It will be ideal for hiking. Haha. The trails without or with rattlesnakes obviously vary each time. I could catch one alive and play with it and then release it in the end if you want me to. I know how to handle snakes because I do it every so often. Oh, and about fishing, Wolford is crappy when it comes to that. It's all good for hiking though. Does it cost anything for hiking? I have never paid. Haha. So yeah, no when it comes to fishing, but hiking, yes. So waking up that early is not really that necessary. Probably 8:30 before noon is just about perfect. Just be here right then, and we'll go in your car or mine. It's up to you. Now, if I wake this early, I hope you show. Haha. This will be fun, man. I never go hiking with anyone else. I'll bring my blade and pack for supplies. So all you have to do is come by. So just go ahead and confirm this, and I will get stuff ready. Tor, October 14, 2006. Well, you said you're short on money, and I really don't have that problem. It'll be quite a drive from my house to the lake, so I think mine will be the one to choose. Hopefully I can get my mom to let me use it, haha, but I'm sure we can work it out if it needs to be necessary. So yes, I'll get the stuff ready and wake up at 700 before noon to make sure everything is fine to go. Then I will wait for you, man. This is going to be capital to the max. See you tomorrow. Tor, October 14, 26. Yes, it was awesome. Though I thought it sucked for you because you seemed upset and troubled the whole time. It turned out you were just tired. Next time when we do go to the ranch, you will hopefully teach me something about the local plants, animals, etc. All this is very good to know and possibly even try. Well, yes, next time will be grand, and hopefully it will be soon. Today was the most fun I've had in a while. Other people I know don't even consider this kind of stuff. Tor, October 15th, 2006. Well, I'm going to go for a hike back at Wolford tomorrow at midday, 1200 to 1230. I want to discover new trails past that one area that we turned away from without question. It's been bothering me that we just obeyed a random sign and didn't question its authority. As for the plant that I said was poisonous about 30 minutes into the hike, it's kind of not. Its anti-itch remedy would put on the skin. If it is left on for over a couple hours, it will leave a red spot and the first layer of skin will peel. I will use this when my leg itches next time. If I'm suddenly engulfed with sores and die due to adverse effects, be sure to set me on fire and kick me a few times for my stupidity. Haha. So, yeah, are you up for this? Tor, October 18, 2006. Hail, Sir Odin. Oh well, I decided not to go. I wasn't prepared because of lack of finance, my blister, and limited meditation the night before. Tomorrow morning, I plan to do some Bushido training with my Japanese sword in the deep woods like Wolford. This will probably be for around 4 to 10 hours, and meditate more than half that time. I need to meditate before I train with the blade because I'm more calm and aware if I do so. And I get to know my better potential so I can call on it when necessary. It's just an overall better way to use your time instead of just pointlessly swinging a blade around. Oh, so you went to the Ambet store? Or was it just an army surplus store? I've not heard of that book before. Maybe next time we meet I can look it over? Haha, you don't want Vietnam daggers. I think they're bayonets and specifically designed to be so. You want a more useful and overall great blade for what you do. I'll let you borrow one if you would like, or we can go to the mall and get you one. That's where I got a few parts to my collection. Yeah, I enjoy wearing my necklace. It's very nice to have, and it really does give you a sense of safety and bravery. It's obviously being completely psychological. When you get it, be sure it's made out of the traditional material, silver, bronze, or iron, because the pewter is cheap and doesn't really make it feel real, I guess. Haha. I've been studying German for a while. I think we have already talked about this, though. Mine's okay, but not really. Haha. I post bulletins in German to talk to my cousins and friends out in Germany. It's nice to hear from my people. Okay, so this weekend, would you like to go for a hike at Wolford, possibly sword train? I'm not sure if this is ideal for you, but it's an option. Tor, October 19, 2006. Haha, I know much about meditation. I've done it for years. When you know what you're doing, everything else just comes naturally. Emotions for me do not exist when I am in a meditative state. My mind goes completely blank even to my natural surroundings. Though when I do meditation to specifically be in tune with my natural surroundings, it is very stressful because of cars and people yelling even in the most desolate of woods. I did not go today because of the park being closed. I was very upset. Though this is Sunday, I'm going to go and you should come. We will use my claymore and Viking sword, then use my samurai swords. I looked up stances and moves on the internet, so I have some great stuff to teach you and myself. I would prefer if we went from my house to the park at around 800 before noon this Sunday, because the weather is easy to deal with. Not so many vehicles and people will be at work. If this is okay, then just confirm it. Tor, October 20, 2006. Alright, so is everything looking good for tomorrow at 800 before noon? Tor, October 21, 2006. Got a job yet, man? How's everything? Tor, October 26, 2006. Well, I'm sure that you don't want to do that the rest of your life, right? Well, you're younger, it's better to set actual career goals and maybe later after retirement do park security and stuff like that. But who am I to tell you what you want? Regardless of your choice, I think it's great. Good luck with the path that you choose. So, what do you want to hang out again? Tor, October 28, 2006. Sir. Wow. So the GI store does have more than Amvet. I'm very surprised. This Sunday we'll have to go and see this place. I can't believe you got all that stuff from there. So it pretty much has everything that a state soldier would have or did have in the past. Since you did not get everything, we could get you a nice first aid kit at Walmart for like 8 abomination coin, and a perfect knife for about 10 to 60 abomination coin. Walmart has pretty much everything for camping, backpacking, and hiking. We'll need to go there too. Sure, man, we could go to either of those places, preferably the one with snow if it has any. All the stuff you got will hold us up for weeks, more than likely. Though we will not stay that long. The thing with established campgrounds is that you just put up a tent and have a fire and things like that. Then when you're done, you're not working or doing too much, and you get bored. Unless we have the swords and that stuff, which will get old after a few hours maybe. If you went into the wild, you'd be working the whole time, making a shelter and trying to survive, which would make you not bored at all. And on top of that, you would not have people to deal with and many other things that could burden you at a campground. But this is the start of what might potentially come later. It's great to see that you got that stuff. I think all this is an awesome idea. This is the first time you've taken the incentives to make plans for us. Ha 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 ha. Great to see this. Talk to you later, man. Matthias. Tor. November 2, 2006. Haha, wow. So the pics I took pretty much suck ass, I guess. Haha, jeez. That camera must have been shit to turn those pics out like that. Well, regardless, today was pretty awesome. I can't wait to fish next weekend. Tor, November 5, 2006. Hey, Odin, your hair is getting epic. Haha. Melee, November 5, 2006. I'm looking forward to see Tyr, which is Varg Vikernes, come out in April 2008. This will be great. Tor, November 7, 2006. Haha, yeah. I hear how you and Tor always go on epic quests in the mighty forests. Ha ha ha. It sounds so fun. I'd totally be up for joining you guys one of these fine mornings if you guys would be willing to let me tag along. Haha. So you're stocking up for a huge camping trip or what? That should be intense. Constructing an igloo from snow and frying deer meat for the evening meal. Haha. Melee, November 9, 2006. I haven't done much since you left last Sunday, other than pick a fight with these Mexicans on the internet. They were too pussy to show up both times they said they would. Just a bunch of cowherds, that's all. I was upset because I was looking for a fight. It's been over 6 months since my last, which is long, by the way. Yeah, you should have wrote me your thoughts on my last bulletin, man. I got quite a few responses, but I'm sure yours would have been one that was legitimate and relevant. Haha. So yeah, hopefully this Sunday we will go and fish at the lake, eh? I want to leave for the lake at 7:30, so get here at around 6:30 sharp. I will have the boat ready and all my fishing gear ready for a whole day worth of fun. Now, hopefully you know how to fish, right? Hilse, Odin, Matthias. Tor, November 9, 26. I know, dude. I wish it was taken in the woods with snow falling with the fire in front of me, or even on a horse. You should try it on all next time. You should try it all on next time you come over. It's a real bitch to put on and off, then set back up though. Haha. Well, 30 minutes to do so. Tor, November 10, 2006. Helse. Okay, here's the final plan for fishing at Hodges tomorrow. Tomorrow morning at 6:30 before noon, I'll be waking up to get stuff ready. You don't have to show up until 700 before noon, but be here as close to 700 before noon as you can. Right when you get here, we will be ready to leave at Lake Hodges for a full day worth of fishing and onshore activity. What do you need? 1. 5 abomination coin for fishing permits. 2. Good food and much water. We will be out from 730 before noon to 600 after noon, alright? 3. Your sword. 4. A warm jacket and coat. 5. Comfortable clothing. 6. Your boots. 7. Sunscreen. Apply before coming so it can settle for the whole day. 8. Your backpack so you can add supplies that you think you might need. And that's pretty much all I can think of. If you follow this, everything should be great, just as I planned. See you tomorrow. Tor, November 11, 2006. Oh, my friend and I saw Glenn Benton with Deicide the other night, man. It was alright. Haha. Melee, November 12, 2006. Ha ha ha. Isn't that the kind of band you would want to play in? So horrible, it's beyond comprehension. Melee, November 14, 2006. Hey man, how did it go today? Tor, November 30, 2006. Haha, yeah, I'm still working there. Will be for a while, most likely. Not much new. I haven't slept much due to my guitar obsession and the long recording processes. I'm thinking of composing an epic concerto for electric guitar. I'd add all the orchestras and stuff myself, but yeah. Has your car blown up yet? Or have you had any luck with the Julian? Haha, we'll talk to you later. Melee, December 8th, 26. Yes, all of those are things you need to get. I already have some of those, I just found out, haha. And about the camping location, we can't camp off the campgrounds. We will need a fire at night and all day, and the choppers and planes can see any fire very, very easily, considering how low they fly. The night will make us very vulnerable, so I guess we have to pick a campsite. These are usually very distant from other people, and we will camp there. I know this sucks, but we can always go hiking all over and whatever. Regardless, it's triple on face. Tor, December 18, 2006. The day before the next northern or western storm front, we will make our trip up to the campsite. This will assure nice cold weather and snow upon our arrival, which in turn makes everything that much more epic. I viewed next week's forecast. Oh my goodness! I viewed next week's forecast, and there are no storms coming, but hopefully soon, so we can get this shit going. Tor, December 22, 2006. Cheers to our epic quest this Frig Day. Tor, December 25, 2006. Can't wait for Frig Day, man. Melee, December 26, 2006. Hell yes for epicness today. I'm tired as hell, man. Wow. Tor, December 29, 2006. Hey, man. So this upcoming weekend, I think we should try out our camping trip. This Frig Day at 10:00 before noon, we head up to Palmer Mountain and reserve a campground for 3 days. We leave in the morning at 10:00 before noon on Yod Day morning. I think we have everything we need, so now we just need to confirm this. Does it sound good? Tor, December 31, 2006. Dude, I said we need to establish a time and day to get this camping trip going. Seriously. Tor, January 20, 2007. No problem, man. I really wasn't sure what to get. And I didn't know if you were still camping and doing that stuff. But I thought it was pretty cool, so yeah. Bitteschön. Mail, February 2, 2007. September 26, 2009. 10/1/2009. Thesis, antithesis, synthesis, whereas thesis and antithesis are becoming negated in this general and universal approach to this world's spirit. Addition and subtraction stand alone, whereas multiplication and division, in order to marry and wedlock this universe and macrocosm once again with the self in this microcosm, it appears that this thesis and antithesis must necessarily become affirmed once again, and more especially must necessarily become affirmed once again together and communicated together in such with its final dialectic, that is this synthesis. Perhaps there is some kind of necessity for now in this general and universal sectarian human world spirit in order to transcend from this dialectical trap that good is good and evil is evil, or that good is affirmed only and evil is negated only, alone and alone, that perhaps its masters shall possibly begin to remember this Kampf element, this antithetical dichotomy in verbose tyranny, and thus shall pay homage to the ancient ones, the primitive thesis likewise. This is simply going to become rather mystical and difficult to relate. However, this multiplication and division in difficulty and complexity shall thus become affirmed and reunited once again into this master state morality. And that whereas good is affirmed and likewise evil becomes affirmed once again, so that the end is not reached or neither complete, and so that the means shall revolve and rotate and evolve from itself in the meantime, and life and spirit in itself shall not become withered and decayed. Good as an end in itself as no longer. No, rather this is the necessary affirmation of evil as a means to this good and intelligent end, and that the system of evil as a means to this good and intelligent end shall protectively and rightfully and guardedly affirm itself, so that the wheel of this life and fortune and possibility and chance in itself shall continue to become evolved and rotated, and that this euphemistical notion of eternal and everlasting paradise on earth shall become vanquished and vaporized, and whatever as this notion is simply not going to become admissible and affirmed, yet however is going to become dismissed and negated by minute observation and insight into the course of this nature. Affirmation of good and evil, really, it is as it is, to the destruction of the Christian, at least this newcomer and fool that does not possess any of the spirit and life force in itself. All is one and one is all, therefore this eternal bliss and foolish happiness shall not ever again, must not ever again become affirmed nor judged competently and completely sufficient. There is truly and really something that is missing, and this is in itself this realistical and suffering and hellish and spiritual element and torment. This inferno and this evil on earth shall simply become affirmed in order to preserve, and to contain, and to continue, and to maintain, and to keep, and to conserve, and whatever else the power and the potency, the degree, and the value of the intellect, and the understanding, and the wisdom, and the crowned godliness, and paradise, and the paradise. Otherwise, without this complexity, this multiplication and division, this willingness, this evil and what have it, otherwise this genuine beauty and intelligence and heaven and freedom and what not simply shall not possess nor project towards itself, nor anything in this universe, the profound and distant effects and the deep and far off consequence that it may so righteously and justifiably bestow and experience and deserve and return unto itself in this state and condition of such and some kind of relative power, potency, and profundity. And this is in order to most of all begin the seemingly necessary apprehension into this understanding and this wisdom, this crowned godliness and this paradise and so on. The apprehension into this understanding and this wisdom and this crowned godliness and this paradise and so on, through the ideas may righteously and justifiably deliver itself from this evil and suffering and everlasting hellish damnation and such. However, upon the triumph and upon the deliverance of this willing and this torment, shall the openness toward the empirical and evidential return through the possible affirmation and acceptance and toleration of this evil and willing and infernal and suffering elements and torments thus become available powerfully, courageously, and virtuously enough once again in order to begin and to commence the righteous and justifiable means towards the deliverance from itself into this genuine and intelligible synthetical elements once again, without the possible necessity toward the beginning and toward the commencement of this reformative and incorrigible and decompositive state and condition of this withered and decayed, annihilated and forgotten, nihilistical and meaningless, emptied and hallowed, negated and debased representation of that once was culturing, yet now becomes civilized and collapsible state and condition of human character and morose spirit, that the circle shall not any further become an end in itself. Yet, however, the circle shall rather become once again an end in itself, coupled with and relatively together with the open possibility and the seemingly necessary acceptance and toleration and understanding of the means toward this end. Likewise, with this almost necessary acceptance and toleration and understanding toward the beginning and the commencement of the seemingly necessary phallic storm and tempestuous fire, powerful energy and courageous vigor and so on, thus that through the actual utilization and the potential coronation of this triune and trinitarian force shall the circle of this once experiential and evidential complete and absolute idea and notion become toward the necessary and possible completion and absolution of itself and among itself through the possible affirmation and representation of this thesis, antithesis, and synthesis, and toward the necessary and possible deliverance and salvation from itself and among itself through the statement of this absolute character, absolute judgments, and absolute abolishment and sublation, negation through the eternal trial and jury, in the eternal time and penitence from the seemingly everlasting hellish damnation and toward this seemingly everlasting heavenly salvation. Upon the reflection, revelation, and understanding, we shall never be reborn. October 1, 2009. 10/15/2009. I've got some words to say they knew. Piano, trumpet, salad, fries, noon, Saturn. Yes, somewhat scary. So I'm the Cyclopticos Clipclops. Eyes in fury. It burns. Haha. Ishmael rides the abyss. Somewhere. Occult propagandist. Marriage counselor. Ski jumper to oblivion. Wow. 23. Invert the inverted crosse. Here we go now. Reborn newscaster. 443 and 33 shin. Shin. Fire chariots. Nearby smiles. Whenever. Fee. Into Slavonical des Shakespearean. Warriors. Ave. By twice. Into this crypt of rays. They're here. State the statement. Das Statement. This is it. What's going on? I don't know equals no. They're here. Negate 2 times. To say, Tor's cool. Thunder, way up high. I remember something. He's here right now, in particular, dis villains. Villains, villains, villain, villains, villain, villain. This cool water's higher. Raised on the seat. Yes, split to the foot, too. Remembered by twice, remembered by twice. Om, shanti, shanti, shanti. Something, reason, thou art just Slavish consciousness from this master-slave, Hegelian, dialectical, pretty wild, weird. To this end complete, remember, end complete. Boots, sword, jacket. There's more to come. Then more will come. Portly in the mind. Ha! Ask and shall. Recept un project. This is it, this is it. Greece, 2005, that's neat. 2003, 2004. H, heh, 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 triple or one? Head is light, foot of stone, fleet of foot, foot of fleet, fleet of light, light of head, head of stone. 10, 1, 10, 1, 10, 1, 0, 0, 0. Grays. Hey, there's more to come. So basically, yes. Much quality. High definition cock-doodle-doo. Futurality is pretty out there. Welcome back. Something is out. Something's here. Something is happening. Extract of the subject. Into the wild cold yonder. January sometime. 2 years. Some meaningless annihilation. Broad. Something horizontal. Roman mate time. Feel this I am dead end. Feel this design. Tune. Some kind of epistemological, logical, ontological growl ritter. Phenomenal, antithetical, mutual. Recognizers, undas. Recognize it, to siren. Aske. Did you not write this document? Thy curse. Denides, excedens. Ad. Pain, fear, pleasure. Some kind of intelligence. Phone book, curtains. Furnace. Hellhounds in panned original death sentence. Teutonic clash in provisional positional positivity. Older, and on. Here they aren't. Helvete in utility. Helvete to nobility. Helvete. Writhing in this life of descent. Deceased sometime a priori. Beginning of positivity, end of negation. Beginning of negativity, end of position. Master of slave, slave of master. Slaves. Slave! No escape. Historical tyranny. Roman, Yule, and Thule. Thule, Yule, and Roman. Particular tyranny. Eternal darkness. Fall of the West. Fall of the rest. First of the last. Fool. Ultima Mundo Donatelle. October 15, 2009. 10/16/2009. Well, I'm done moving into the cabin for now. Everything up here is going okay for the most part. The weather has been changing quite a bit since I've been up here. I've taken some photographs for whoever might be interested enough to see and to visualize this in regard to the cabin and the atmosphere around up here. Anyway, there was a video taken sometime at the beginning of this month while I was driving down the mountain here to see Iden once again. I believe this video can be seen on the default profile page of this website or likewise on the YouTube video account page. My computer has crashed recently. I've needed to upload things on here once again, establishing things back to what once was. Anyway, there should be some kind of snow up here sometime soon. Perhaps sometime this next month or December, or possibly even prior to the end of this month. I'm looking forward to this. I'm falling asleep I was falling asleep some several days ago listening to the rain all alone out here in the woods. There are visitors up here for now, fortunately, yet unfortunately the wood floors and chairs, whatever creak, everywhere in this cabin upstairs and downstairs, though things are going to be okay in the meantime. The spiritual existence upstairs that Iden has suggested to me is becoming more than evidently real when it is dark out, and I'm all alone here, deep in my solitude. The upstairs part of the cabin is rather scary at night. There can be seen 2 photographs documenting the living room, the fireplace up there. It seems possible to become some kind of spiritual nightmare while up here. Iden was rather scared of this upstairs area of the cabin in the first place. There's some sculptured gargoyle head out in the front of the cabin too. Wow. Yes, sometimes it can be rather scary up here. I left with Iden to rent a hotel room at the Harrah's Casino somewhere around here for the night. The following night, we rented some random but very nice and comforting Hilton Hotel Inn thing nearby the beach in Carlsbad. How everything seems to become a long story here, though I'm sure whoever can get the picture. Things are becoming difficult to relate. Writing things especially too. I've begun to prefer verbally and physically communicating my ideas to whomever as of late. Anyway, I've written some kind of new artistic writing from earlier some time. I'm not sure whether or not that someone or anyone may have read this as of yet. I've begun to plan on some kind of video of my own acting something out. This has become some kind of significant inspiration for me as of late. Action and music too. This idea of music in itself is especially important and significant for me. I am the maestro. I have begun to learn some newer things about me that otherwise I could not possibly in the meantime have visually seen nor have had any physical sense. I intend to purchase some kind of electronic piano while up here sometime soon, as I had done such a thing at the San Marcos room. I feel that I may have become spiritually and physically dead and deceased since I've been up here. All this to me, anything is becoming difficult, if not nearly seemingly impossible for me to relate. Anyway, I hope that I may possibly have experienced an okay winter during these coming several months. I'm going to look forward to see some snow and live further through this great and ice cold and solitary and ultimately real kind of climate. Odin, October 15, 2009. I'm thinking about things right now. I'm relaxing and resting likewise. I'm attempting to take things easily. Right now, I'm downloading some kind of video file through the means of some video download site. My computer has crashed some time ago recently, and in the meantime, I'm attempting to return whatever kind of information that once was on this computer. I really do not possess the means with this dial-up service in order to watch the video of the Palm Mountain Drive that I had done a while back, sometime a week ago, and had edited with the music of the Loven Prelude. Therefore, I'm attempting to download this file onto the computer, and I'm going to attempt to convert it into some kind of video format in order to watch the video sometime once again. I've messaged and emailed some relations earlier today too. They had gone down to San Marcos to some computer store and had purchased a new keyboard because the keyboard that it was in possession of for some time was becoming broken and certain keys were not any longer responding. There are visitors up here too. There have been some kind of visitors upstairs pretty much straight through since this past Saturday or Sunday. The second couple seems to be alright. There's a husband and a wife up there with what seems to be an infant of some age. There's a dog up there too. The second group of visitors straight through that have brought along with some kind of dog or animal. These visitors are leaving tomorrow. There shouldn't be another couple of visitors or whatever upstairs until the 18th or sometime, as I believe right now. The next scheduled visitors should stay up there for only 2 to 3 days. Then, after this next scheduled group of visitors, there should be some kind of break and rest period of solitude between for 3 or 4 or 5 days. I'd driven past both Hühner's place and Idun's place today, while on the way to the computer store and while on the way back. I was thinking about myself as of late, and I was able to find some deeper and further positive trait, characteristic, and whatever that has since been embedded deep within me, likewise lost and seemingly unknowable for quite some time. I went down to the nearby grocery store too. I did this some couple of days ago. There have likewise been some absolutely enormous and scary and disgusting black spiders from here since I have been back today. Fortunately, I was not becoming so creeped out as some kind of visitors have been upstairs as of late. Well, anyway, I intend to purchase a piano and move it up here sometime soon. I've begun to recognize further things that have been in regard to me. I've videotaped myself recently, basically attempting to exemplify and to act and to personify honestly and sincerely whatever highly and developed and artistically refinable trait and characteristic that has since becoming embedded within me. I've recognized now, upon reviewing this video, that there seems to be some rather absolutely insane and irrational traits within me, though, however, these traits appear to have become manifesting themselves without some kind of mode and method and means that is necessary in order to satiate and satisfy and calm itself. The body in its movement in relation to the world appears to become rather extremely artistic, lost and confused without some kind of means in order to express itself through some kind of musical instruments, a piano, a trumpet perhaps. I'm beginning to see and to visualize myself beyond this need to express myself through some kind of word, poetry, concepts, and especially philosophy. I'm simply in need of the expression through the means of some kind of musical instrument, piano and whatever. In general, genuinely speaking, I seem to have become more and further musically and sonically expressive and representative through the means of something rational or irrational, through the means of understanding or whatever else, rather than above any other means of expression. I see myself further right now. I've become some kind of master conductor. I am the maestro. I am in need of some kind of artistic and genuine expression through musical and recognizably and refinably sonical means. I do not know right now whether or not that these statements are going to become understood. I enjoy wearing this black sweater with this white shirt collar, whatever, folding over and going over the shirt from underneath. I enjoy growing and regaining some kind of long hair growth once again. I enjoy becoming able to move rather quickly and freely and intelligibly and so on. I'm not any longer right now becoming so inhibited and so frozen and so fearing what ultimately fearsome or whatever. I'm able as reason to witness and to evidence myself with this world, and as the world was around me and had surrounded me. I'm Meili's older brother, long lost, mysterious and ultimately unrecognizable and insensitive in distance while beyond some kind of subjectifiable interest. I feel that I have some kind of right and some kind of duty in order to represent myself more clearly, more purely, and further vitally among this world and among whatever that has possibly become so supportive, that has been so supportive toward whatever kind of intelligible capability that might in itself have become known, though nevertheless I should not have become completely forgotten. It can be rather incredibly, extremely awkward up here, while there are visitors upstairs. I understand deeply how uncomfortable this kind of state and condition could become. I try to leave for outside and go out driving somewhere for some time, in order to give to myself and the visitors some kind of mutual recognition and restoration in the meantime. As of right now, I really do not intend to stay up here yet, only until this lease agreement has since become done and finished. Afterward, I am going to attempt to move to some kind of place that is desolate, that is wooded, that is mountainous, that is solitary, and so on. That is likewise and in addition going to be kept away from the eyes and the ears of the strange and ultimately unknowable mankind in total. I do not intend to further the means toward delusion or communion or cognitive and self-conscious humanity. At least for now, it appears that this ultimate predictable and expectable kind of master and slave dialectical relationship is going to become inescapable and unavoidable whatsoever. I simply am going to need to return to some kind of delusifying and ultimately unrealizable and unrecognizable psychological and intellectual state and condition, some kind of mutual relative and dialectical understanding. Ode, October 1629. 11/19/29. It appears for now that we are the tragic eyes. I'm not right now able enough to find them. There should be many, if not then a seemingly infinite more, and again further point of reference toward this departure, some kind of scattered mind, some kind of splattered body. This odalism comes to be for and in a state of such rest. What more could we ever even begin to beg from him while inside such strange and impossible carceral magisteries, and to become from such and such? November 1929. 11/20/29. Black as speech, buried beneath the common ground, to wisdom and to motion, while out in wither distance, commotive monasticism and necessary derisional testaments, fleeting of objection, his darkest imagination, the disgrace of emptiness. Afterward, spells of nothingness. Yet what a profound lack of certainty. Yellow risen somewhere. Skepticism and thought distance, circumambulation, revelation. Inside and trapped between these darkest corridor walls, the voice at this very door. Manifest and further into such encryptical dust for once and ever again. November 2029. 12/1/2009. I could change my destiny once again if I tried enough. I know you and I are real and separated and detached from the Lord and from this will. If only I could change and pull myself out of the trap that I have seemingly voluntarily conditioned and placed myself within. This will be a lot of work in order to complete successfully. It will be very painful, likewise, I'm sure of this. Oh, this world is real, so very real and free. I shall change this destiny of mine from each moment onward. Likewise, I know that you are real, and so am I. I see this idea so evidently. When I look back further and further into the past, there's that real element to everything in the writing, the art, in the music, in the communication with other people. I believe that I may have taken a wrong path, the greatest and furthest wrong path that anyone could possibly ever take, and that I have for once forged my destiny into something that I seemingly could not understand or wrest from nor pull myself out of. I simply shall change the path I'm headed on, and shall not wind any further toward this dead end that I'm inevitably determined to break toward. I'm real, and I'm not any further going to take some path that somehow inevitably displaced and detached myself from this life and this reality, from this spirit and freedom, yet not any further. Doing this indeed sounds very promising, and I do intend to have pulled myself out of the trap that I had pretty much now voluntarily displaced myself within, and will have reaped the love and the harmony with my world that has so inevitably become distanced and detached from and with. It will not to be any further. To the pure and total fool, December 1, 2009. (12/3/2009). My computer crashed today for the second time as of recent. I feel that I may have become deceased once again for the second time this year as of today. Paralysis, convulsion, solitude, death. I've just lately gotten this computer running once again. I was upstairs today too. I was in tears too. We were spirits up there and deceased, playing some board games, and you were comforting me on the couch and making things in the kitchen, helping me become positive and accepting of this world of mine once again. The music does remind of you. Tolkien is a close representative of your past. The words in the story are difficult for me to understand. 1920s around is your deceased spirit's time, something or another. Your roses were put on the stairway with your card you gave to me. Everything here is deceased and resting. I was a spirit for some time earlier today. The mountain, the cabin, the upstairs, the downstairs. Everything is finally meaning something to me in the end. Forgotten and unknowable, yes, however placed in final happy and positive accordance. The world around me is trivial and superfluous. I will simply not succumb myself to what appears to be the petty and ultimately shallow delusions and mind schemes in order to attempt to get me tricked. I am simply all that is and all that matters, all throughout time and space, galaxy and history. You are ultimately real too. Do not be a coward. We are not petty or shallow or delusional or a mind scheme. We are most definitely not ultimately petty, nor ultimately shallow, nor ultimately delusional, nor ultimately a mind scheme. We become simply misplaced. We are difficult to fall from such trapism. However, we are here in this world, here beside ourselves. We are ultimately here in this world, ultimately beside you and I too. October 22, 2009. I'm doing okay right now. I've become a little bit creeped out from the spirits that appear to be around here. October 23, 2009. It was huge. I think it was freaky as all hell. It left me creeping out for a long time. I'm still trying to forget about that thing and get over it. The color of it was black, and it seemed as though it had been alive for some time. It wasn't hairy from what I had seen. I'm not even sure right now that I had killed it efficiently. The thing might still be alive. It may have played dead or something, as I had attempted only to flush down the shower drain, and then it was caught in the drain hole because hair and stuff was in there. The drain was likewise becoming clogged. Then I took a pen and tried to poke all the stuff in the drain, including the spider, through. It could become an absolute hell while up here. Last night was freaky and nightmarish too. Spiders and spirits, in a strangely hot and suffocating blanket while in 40-degree weather. Neither did I take a shower down here yesterday. I took one while upstairs twice in a row. The shower down here has not been used in some time. It is becoming clogged, and there is a water mess all over that bathroom floor when I do attempt to use it. The toilet is becoming further clogged. The carpet right outside the bathroom is seeming totally soaked. I called up the landlord just a little while earlier today. He's trying to get another more efficient plumber up here and to try to get the septic problem and whatever else fixed. My recording mixer was next to the bathroom floor. The bottom of this very expensive machine was soaked likewise. I do not even know whether or not this device will work any further. I do not think that there are going to be visitors up here until more than likely probably this Friday or Saturday, from what the landlord has told me. Yes, in the meantime, I'm going to head to Walmart today in order to search and to purchase some kind of rechargeable battery-less LED flashlight for just in case the power up here were ever to go out. Having the power go out throughout the night while alone up here without any kind of light source could quite possibly become my absolute living nightmare. I do not want this to happen and be without any kind or source of light, not to head into complete darkness and silence throughout the remainder of the night for me. I'm also intending to purchase a cooler while down there today at the store. The cheaper and more inexpensive milk and juice and butter, whatever else, while I try to do my grocery shopping. 5 abomination coin for a gallon of milk, and likewise 5 abomination coin for a few sticks of butter, while at the general store up here is simply going to be too much for me in my current state of finance. I may purchase some kind of chair too while down there at the store today. I'm going to need to save all and any of the money that I come into possession while up here in the meantime. It seems very unlikely right now that I could afford to purchase some kind of electronic pianos anytime soon, or while during this month. It seems as though my computer was having further problems earlier today, and nearly crashed and lost all hardware and software and whatever for the 3rd time in nearly a month. The problem with this computer may become severe enough that I should purchase a whole new computer, that I might need to do this while during the financial state that I'm going to be in as of right now. So I would like to think that driving down toward town today in some kind of brighter and happier and sunnier weather while spending time there could possibly raise me and keep me in some better kind of spirit in the meantime. November 11, 2009. There are visitors up here. There have been visitors up here since yesterday night when I had gotten back. The visitors up here seem rather friendly. They're certainly the most friendly visitors that have been up here since I have been living up here too. There's a father and a mother too, or something children, I believe. The father's voice up here reminds me a lot like Leo's. And no, I don't believe that they are so old of a couple. They seem like a pretty lively, good-natured family. November 14, 2009. The plumber came by today in an attempt to fix the bathroom. Apparently there's a problem with the septic system that's beyond his measure. He is going to arrange for some septic system worker in order to come up here and fix this mess. In the meantime, I believe the plumber guy had informed the landlord already about the events of today. However, it is really lonesome up here as of late. It is depressing up here at night, more especially when there are not any further activities to do that seem promising or exciting enough or whatever. There is a seemingly complete lack of relations or friends to communicate positively and intriguingly through enough. November 18, 2009. Well, the visitors upstairs are gone. They have left since 10:00 this morning. There was also a plumber that came by and supposedly finally fixed the septic situation here. So it seems to be okay for now. I really hope that there's not any further septic problem up here, but I will see how it goes. I uploaded The Sims 3 onto my computer afterward too. It appears that my video card is out of date too. I need a Pixel Shader version 2.0. I did some research online. It appears that this product cannot be downloaded, yet it must be purchased in a store along with a newer and an up-to-date video card. So The Sims 3 is uninstalled here right now. I'm going to send this back when I see you once again. Well, anyway, there should be visitors upstairs tomorrow at around 3:00 afternoon, November 24, 2009. Playing the Roller Coaster Tycoon game really does seem to keep the spirits away from here. It is midnight, and I'm not frightened from this common spiritual activity up here as of yet. I'm going to try and play this game more often later in the night so that I can stay awake and keep up online here more often and such. November 30, 2009. 12/8/2009. Today I woke up and felt very excited from a couple of dreams that I had had earlier the prior nights about playing some old school console video games. I did some searching online and over the phone for a cheap television set at places like Walmart and Target. I called up Hirner likewise and asked for any available television set from him. The answer was not any available right now. So anyway, I headed down to Escondido today I went to a Goodwill searching for a cheap television set, and it turns out that they didn't have any at the moment. So instead, I decided to head over to the Salvation Army, and it turns out that they had a television set going for 25 Abomination coin, and I went ahead and purchased this at around 400 afternoon today. Then I headed down to Ocean Beach and went to an old school video game store where I saw many old systems and video games for sale. NES, Super Nintendo, Nintendo 64, PlayStation. At first I decided to purchase the Super Nintendo with some Mario game. I intended to purchase the Zelda game along with it, but unfortunately this was sold out, so rather instead I had purchased the PlayStation 1 as it had been going for 10 Abomination coin, whereas the Super Nintendo was going for about 40 Abomination coin. I purchased the Final Fantasy VII game. While over there, in the cashier there appeared some reminiscent of my stepbrother Pan. He was very friendly and almost a complete resemblance of my stepbrother. I could be mistaken, but for now I really do not know about this. Anyway, I drove back up here after heading through some very severe traffic along the way, but then I drove all the way back up here and have been here since, without any visitors upstairs for tonight either, and have had some inexpensive dinner, and have been trying to figure out for now how to hook up this PlayStation and play a video game in the meantime. Well, up here there's going to be snow, and snow, pretty much, Snow level by your day should be heavy, and down to lower than 4,000 feet elevation. I'm pretty much going to be snowed in for some time to come. But anyway, yes, tomorrow I should be set on entertainment when I'm able to properly get this console system hooked up. Well, I'm going to try and keep warm. It's rather cold up here right now as it is, December 4, 2009. The power has gotten back up here just a little while ago. It is raining and cold up here right now and very windy. It is so depressing up here right now. It seems to be becoming simply unbearable living up here alone for most of the time in this cold and isolated weather. I'm thinking about moving back into town, Escondido or San Marcos regardless, when the lease agreement is up. I simply do not want to, nor need to become so incredibly depressed while living in this kind of condition. It is really becoming unbearable up here. December 7, 2009. I have been thinking about taking action by moving somewhere back into town during this coming May of next year. I have been given the idea that it might be very well possible to to move back to Hitler's place for some time still to come. I may want to look into a cheap apartment of some sort too in the meantime. One that is somewhat secluded from the slums and whatnot, but one that is located somewhere by the nearby local amenities and social activities, most notably including the idea of seeing Eden more frequently, realistically and such. I seem to be rather aware of the idea of not being able to find a cheap apartment that is away from the slums. However, I do know that the idea of a house or room or anything cheap and affordable that is somewhat away from the thugs at the same time is not entirely impossible to achieve and to accomplish. I simply do not need to endure such a kind of traumatic experience as locating and situating myself out here in the seemingly most desolate condition of these coldest woods and mountains. Perhaps if the option of finding an apartment of some sort is negative, then I may really just consider moving back into and situating myself at Hitler's place. Most certainly, if by this time the messenger to Loki is going to be moved out and headed on somewhere outside from this place. This way, leaving somewhere like there at Hitler's place, I could begin the continued saving of some of my income in the meantime, and likewise begin keeping myself spiraling further into solitude, lonesomeness, and an inevitable depression, which this I feel has been becoming something unavoidable and rather significant for me while up here at this cabin as of late. I would like to believe that there is some further life force and substance to be found even in a place such as Hirner's home. Up here at this cabin there simply has not been much life, energy, and activity, spontaneity, or happiness so much whatsoever to begin with. And likewise, if I were to move into Hirner's home, since my monthly rent would inevitably become lowered once again, I could possibly save up enough and invest in some kind of college education in pursuit of some kind of master's degree or PhD, or I could invest in some financial aid and likewise now be within driving distance to the community college, and in the meantime begin an education, some level or degree of pursuance. I could begin working somewhere and keep myself more occupied too, as I feel existing up here in this cabin always, and seemingly for all the time, simply begins dwindling any hope and optimism, and for pleasure and happiness and entertainment and social comfort and activity and so on. As for the time being, I do not really so much have an idea as for what I might be majoring in. Something such as this has always been a chief profound and towering burden and struggle and mystery for me, as this has for the most part in time been pointed out to me from my fellow humanity. I will figure getting this degree out from some time to come, and doing this for now is simply going to be too questionable and mysterious for me as it is. December 8th, 2009. 12/13/2009. I'm sitting here listening to music, thinking about whatever comes to mind right now. I'm listening to the Modus Operatum demo disc, the songs that stem mostly from July 2009. I was thinking about listening to the Outer Space demo that I had made back in June of this year. I was listening to the August 2009 recordings earlier last night. I was thinking about making an extra copy for each of the demo discs that I have since made and have since recorded. I simply do not feel like losing this collection of music that I have made in various unique times in my life anytime soon. I had made a CDR copy just earlier today, containing the complete collection of the photography and the writings up until now. Getting to do this successfully was rather difficult, yet it is done. I've been becoming incredibly lonesome and solitary and depressed up here as of late. I have not seen a living, breathing human around here in several days. Any voice and any presence will keep me alive for now. Right now, I really would not mind visiting with someone or anyone for some time once again. I'm becoming frightened likewise if I were ever to lose Eren in somehow or some way, as though some freak accident were to occur and contact might become lost. I really would not know what to do if this were the case, and I believe that my life could very well easily become into danger and jeopardy. I really wish and hope and pray and have faith in such in her health, presence, well-being. I couldn't possibly wish anything more for her ever during this point in time, nor do I intend to ever change this. I will see upon whether or not that the snow condition might be safe enough for now to drive in, so that I could see her and be with her for some time of the day at her place. I miss Eren very much right now. I'm literally dying to see anyone, since I have been up here and becoming so rather depressed. I feel as though I do not know who or what I'm talking to anymore. I'm moving into town as soon as possible. I'll see whatever the messenger to Loki is up to in the meantime. If he's gone from Hunter's place, then I'm moving back to his place. If not, then I move into somewhere nearby town, situated in civilized amenities, socialization, humanity, people. I'm not putting up with this solitude and depression nonsense any further. And I'm not certainly going to end up committing suicide up here. As if I were to remain up here much further, this action seems to become inevitable. I'm moving back into town as quickly as I can. I'll even see further into the lease agreements, whether or not that I could even move back into the pit of humanity prior to May of 2010, possibly. Though I'm not putting up with this lying and ultimately nightmarish scenario any further. I'm simply becoming finished and done with this environment and setting up here. I really do not care who or what I am speaking to this anyway, so long as this message is becoming stated here and now. I'm sure that the master creator somehow knows my intention around here. He or she or it could do whatever it likes to me. In the meantime, though, I am going to push through with all of my energy and all of my strength and willpower and might, in order to get past the many furious traps and tricks and holes that it inevitably puts up for me. I have entered myself into environments where all and everything around me inevitably becomes unreal, empty, false, hollow, fake, a lie. I'm not going to pull myself through this kind of monstrous and ultimately unrealistic and despairing path any further. There are things around here that I'm going to begin doing, and there are things around here that I'm going to get done. These things ultimately include the realization and total recognition of myself and this world as something virtuous, radical, real, and biologically organic. Nothing further false or unreal. That is simply not going to get the best of me, neither, never, nor ever. I feel as though that this condition is leaving me here, as though I'm going to die, and going to become so incredibly depressed, as if I were going to commit suicide and kill myself, and have this nightmarish dream over and done with it in an instant. Not anyone nor anything even seems by a chance real anymore. The words and ideas that this world is giving me does not point to or lead to any road or path to departure. This world is simply here nodding its head as its fellow human brother, or whoever he is seen ultimately vaporizing and evaporating into some minute speck of dust, neither further but an empty shell, though they speak of action and things outside of my peripheral vision, as though they possess much or some kind of life force to them, as though they were real or alive. However, these words and ideas that speak of with a life force to them do not anyhow pertain to me in particular, and it is as though I were inevitably becoming haunted or terrorized with and from their allures. Whatever you are, whatever you may be, I'm speaking to it, that Lord or Creator or whatever, or Maker or whatever it is of my very own existence. I would like to state that I wish for myself a good evening and a good night, away from this hideous, abominable thing or monster. I will not ever let this putrid beast get into the thorns or claws of my dominion, neither my path. I'm simply going to escape from it somehow in some way. It is not going to make me, nor myself, nor I, into something simply that seems impossible, or somehow not even realistic enough to even lend a helping hand while undergoing such a profound state of ultimate distress, dust, and destruction. December 9, 2009. I really do not know right now what is going to become of this situation. I've been feeling rather incredibly lonely and solitary up here at this cabin as of late. I've been thinking so much as moving back to Hirner's place to find some happiness that is not found here. It is rather incredibly lonely and solitary up here. I feel as though that I'm becoming depressed from the seemingly complete lack in correspondence with sociable humanity. I would like to speak with Hirner about myself possibly moving back in, but it seems for now that if I were to move back in, that the conditions there might not be so safe and secure as they could be in the meantime. I'm indeed planning on moving back into town at least, even while the lease agreement to this cabin is not up yet or finished. Iden does keep me company up here. I drive down to her place every now and then. Sometimes she will come up here with me for the weekend. Lately, she has been becoming seemingly incredibly busy and has been doing many things, a lot of things that is really beginning to take the life out of me, as I simply am in need of her, pretty much her alone, in order to keep myself alive and recognizant and happy and stable. For now, I believe that if I were to move into any place while continuing to pay the rent up here at this cabin, then I would really need to move into Hirner's place, as I really could not afford paying for 2 apartments at once with the paycheck that I'm given. The lease agreement to this cabin in particular ends in May of 2010. I really could not imagine what it may be like living up here straight through until this time. I think that I might need to pay a fee. I did not think about the idea that I could possibly do this. The only question to this is whether or not that I could afford this fee in the meantime. I would really like to relocate and resituate myself somewhere in a town with lots of people, regardless of the mood or historical outlook. If this were the case, if I were to need to pay for every month remaining up front, that I really could not afford to do this anywhere in the meantime in particular. It is unfortunate that the condition that I'm living in places myself most clearly and directly in a state of absolute solitude and complete extraction from sociable found help or assistance. It is indeed true that Iden and I have met up with Rhea one night at Marie Callender's and had talked for some time and had some dinner. This had been okay. I felt as though I was disappointing her for the most part. I was feeling pretty bad about this afterward. For some time, Iden had been talking me into seeing her once again, that doing this might possibly clear up any confusion or suffering that I may have been feeling for such a time prior to seeing her once again. I think doing this has helped somewhat. I'm glad to hear that she has felt happy to see me and to finally talk with me once again. In the meantime, I would really like to speak to Hirner once again, simply so that living with him, especially being within closer proximity with Iden, might really help cure this becoming depression that has since been developing rather powerfully within me as of late. Concerning Hirner and I, there has indeed certainly been a vast improvement and a closer understanding of each other's position within this world. I feel so much more sympathy for Fjörner now. I email him more now that I have been away. I'm becoming rather worried for Fjörner. I really do not need anything happening to him right now. In my particular situation, he may really come to save my life and to get me out of this emptiness and seemingly hopeless condition of solitude and self-annihilation. It is becoming terrible up here, in fact. I do not have a piano up here with me right now either. I'm going to need to save up some money in the meantime if I'm going to purchase one while up here. I'm becoming rather low on money, especially this month. I have been purchasing much needed video games and systems, in fact, in order to bring a kind of color and happiness to this environment that is simply not going to be found without this means. It is terrible without one. I am becoming so incredibly rusty right now. One does not have any clue. I play at Idun's every so often now and then. My fingers are stiff now. I really would be so happy having a piano with me once again likewise. December 13, 2009. 1/3/2010. I've called up the landlord today and found out from him that I can simply write a 30-day notice to him that the life and living up here at this cabin can begin its final and just end. For now, I need to write or speak to Hjörner about this, concerning that moving into his place will be a just approval. I'm holding off on writing the 30 days notice just for now. First, I'm going to write or speak to Hjörner about whether or not that doing such a thing is going to take place. Then afterward, I'm going to give the idea of moving out of the cabin some serious contemplation, recollection, and vacillation over living with Hjörner, laboriously deciding which either or will be beneficial the most for me. Then, afterward this reflection is done, I will most likely write to the landlord the 30 days notice. There are many things that are very necessary for me to be compared and reflected upon while living here in the meantime. I would really like to understand and know more positively whether or not that while moving back to Hjörner's place, just how powerfully or what so profoundly anything may have changed while living there. I really would like to know what the condition with myself will more than likely have come to, whether the disease, death, and inevitable destruction might have taken its course during this time, or that I am blessed enough that this course hadn't, nor will ever take its course and finish off whatever comradeship and company I have been capable of relation toward and with. There might be some group of visitors staying up here at the cabin for weeks on end, coming up very soon. I must think very much about this and act upon my decision. I would certainly like to see everything working out in whatever is best and possible for this place and this universe. The landlord tells me the visitors are from out of state and have come down here in order to work on some construction project around the mountain of some sort. They might be here for several months, from what I hear, though the landlord has been ambiguous in regard to the contact with him. It seems they haven't had the situation confirmed just yet. Yet anything could happen right here and right now. There's much quiet, peace, and silence up here in solitude that I'm probably going to miss very much. It truly has been and can become a nice place. However, I feel that there is some kind of propulsive element that is missing up here. I think that my living up here at this place has indeed degraded my will, my drive to a kind of boredom and a nihilism that never had I the thought of perhaps experiencing. There are many optimistic advantages and pleasures while living down there as there are while living up here. However, these kind of pleasures are very different and difficult to consider and to perceive more fully and complete. I really do not want to see myself digging into some kind of hole that I inevitably couldn't escape from. Doing this, I simply cannot visualize the day around. January 3, 2010. 1/10/2010. To know further what will happen in the cosmological universe that I constrain myself to visualize right now in this current. What is the mysterious system found and grounded within inside this mind? Where is the time to retreat? Something so profoundly comes to an end. I imperatively intend to ask this question with the most complete certainty, whatever honesty that the reminiscent vision can extract, forcing communicative dependency upon seemingly poltergeist sufficiency. Drain away this ether, further entreat thee from thy magnanimous bosom. Where is the maddest dramatical poetry headed into? How shall I construct the reason that is within this an empty mind, sufficient enough to take within and guard thyself from whatever poisonous and cancerous sorcerer that inconspicuously seeks to alter the course of so fated a determination toward nuclear strangeness and kindled audacity never to be restored? not anything than memory. That eccentrical wisdom deep within and throughout surrounds thy name. What can become of this if it is never to be regained, never see the end, nor break the course that so much positively recovers, and regains itself from? Such little genuine, heroic, and pure genius remains within the state that has imperfectly come to pass. I am within my own. We speak and professionally communicate these thoughts toward ourselves. Time will go on likewise. The mystery within cannot ever be so clearly received. Individual character, ontological minuteness, raised, regarded to forever restore that mystical blindness and bondedness that so inevitably needed to redeem. January 10, 2010. 1/16/2010. I wrote to Hunter an email that asks him whether or not he will accept me back after I write the 30-day notice to the landlord. I hope things will turn out around okay. I think Hunter will email me back about this sometime tomorrow. I really hope that if I were to live there, things would still be going okay, similar to how things once were prior to my moving in here up at the cabin. I'm still going to think about doing this, moving back into Hunter's place, though I feel deep within that I will more likely go ahead and do this. But I really do not want to be met with such a misfortune or bad surprise along the way. January 4, 2010. I really miss so many things. I can only look forward to this, and will not let go of these greatly positive things either. There's something in this world I miss so incredibly much. The element that seems to give and prepare for me some kind of just and worthy rest and peace. I really cannot permit the elements to see its growing apart and going away from its great counterpart and determined coarseness, if this is in any way to be rational and understood. I really miss the helpingness and beneficence. I believe that I may have indeed let this grow apart from its tender relativity and relevance with me. What mistaken action I have done for this reality here. There must be some time again enough to regain what distancing of damage that has been done within and throughout. I understand the most significant reason to never say never. I understand the ethics of virtue and goodness remaining in concrete, timeless monuments to be remembered, whereas the ethics and actions of vice and wickedness being left in the sand in order to wash away before the mysteries of the ocean and the ineffable and timeless sea. January 10, 2010. I'm surrounded by spirit up here. I remember it so vividly up here. Old conversations, careful, loving, understanding. The spirits up here. An older lady in her 50s does not like or tolerate masterliness. Kitchen help and games upstairs. Bleeding red curtains in the same color severed string cursed with white magic spells. Memories of hospital care. Overnight and candles. Art and poetry, so much understood. Electric heater that warms the place. Wine glasses and finally being understood. Old silly fantasy books. Trolls and elves. The curtains so blood red. The dark robe that embodies the touch and appears before bedtime. Warm fuzz and scarves and trinkets. Warmth. Dark death helmets nearby for better understanding. Onto the other side. It cannot be really gone. I must need to know in order to better understand. It is not gone. What has happened to my understanding, to my knowledge? The strings cannot be severed for so much longer. There's so much around here that I cannot fear becoming trapped in for the sake of not ever going away. I cannot lose this grip, this reality, this remembering of things that seems to be something like so eternal and everlasting. I'm not really dead, not yet. I simply cannot fall away. There's some element so profound and powerful that seems to have gone missing in such a far-off path. I'm not sure whether the understanding of this kind of mercy that leads up to the timeless understanding can be recovered right now. At least there is this powerful visual element that exists so accordingly in my domain. However, there's some time needed in between in order to recover that lesser and more easier, superior cycle of pleasure and questioning. It seems far off and distant right now, though I'm sure it seems all that is left to be done is a single action of comfort and rest, and possibly then the time that passes by evidently lifts off the darkest clouds of hatred and intolerance, scorn and fastidiousness, and there could possibly be some recovered magical foolishness and luck that would inevitably redeem such a late and elderlish relativity and friendliness. There is something that is missing on either side that seems to inevitably harm the other in the end, though upon thinking deeper about the condition, there seems to be a very different, more eternally compatible and fatedly united side to this thing. This really should not become unfettered from or lost in the deep sea, for this mysterious thing is most triumphant and nearly designated from all. What cannot be destroyed, submerged, or captivated so trivially as it seems to take its course. There is such a healthier, fresher, and brighter elements past these severing of ties and looseness of strings that has eventually yet mistakenly taken its place. I cannot live nor think to see it as gone, away or dust from the fetters. This compatibility and opportunity appears too much for me, myself and I, to mistake. I will find that spirit I look forward sometimes still to come. In the end, this will be a dream that becomes revealed purely and nobly, virtuous and good. January 15, 2010. I'm moving into town, once again, into Hjörner's place. I called up the landlord, and we agreed that there was a 30 days notice that has been stated, and that I call up Hjörner, and he agreed that it would be okay letting me back into his place in the meanwhile. I called the landlord back up once again about this. It looks like that by the 1st of February I should have become moved in completely with all of my things to Hjörner's house once again. I'm pretty sure that I'm not going to stay there for too long. I plan on getting a part-time job around town somewhere and taking the benefits with me and moving into an apartment of some kind with the coin I should be making, and that this next place should be more around the town area at this time. January 16, 2010. 1/17/2010. It is an excellent idea to stay in touch once again from after all this time I've been away. Everything up here has been for the most part very therapeutic, healthy, resuscitative, and revitalizing for an entity such as myself and my character while up here. It appears that over some amount of time, while becoming acclimated with myself to these conditions, that the idea of exiling into the woods, into a solitary and very reclusive cabin, really can become a kind of disappointment, more explicitly an absolute living nightmare. I really did not expect this kind of lifestyle to turn out and take the shape for the way that it really is. The daylight has become short up here, and I have been having terrible experiences with lonesomeness, forced and oppressive solitude, and an overall Weltanschauung of major depression, pessimism, and negativity. The situation while up here has been becoming rather bleak, and it has been so further in accordance with the drastic change and collapse of the loving relationship that I had had for such a time with my partner that was Idun. While I had been up here, and likewise before heading up here too, there has been a breakdown, a severe connective communication loss between the two of us, her and I wonder to this day whether or not that this will ever become restored again or not in any time that is still perhaps to come. There has indeed been some snow while I have been up here this winter, but not very much, though I've been given the amounts in total to be around 5 or 6 or 7 inches. I'm not too sure about that, though there was indeed 2 snow sessions in total, both of which had taken place between November and December of this past year. Likewise, the weather has rained somewhat too while I've been up here. Yet the next week is forecast for some major tropical storms. This indeed is exciting. I can rather optimistically expect something this kind to take its place. There's some situation that I'm working on right now as of late that involves the coin income that I have been receiving to this day. It appears that with some 850 abomination coin amounts that I received, that there remains still the problem concerning the eventual payment of the bills while up here. The phone bill is explicitly troublesome to write about more specifically. Likewise, there still remains some essential kind of trouble with the medical bills left over. I believe that the consulting of Hjörner about this for his help and for his initial helping me with this for me should inevitably come to a kind of greater service and an inevitable relief in the end. I don't have a motorcycle yet. There is that financial situation that I would need to have to deal with too, if I were to consider and take action toward getting one. However, that purchasing a motorcycle this day does sound extremely interesting, and knowing that I'm abolished and freed more highly from the chain that had been administered toward me while while in the relationship that I had had in the past with Eden, that this seems to be more than likely put to its end. That the getting of a motorcycle would not be such a bad idea, nor a difficult sort of problem, nor a burden to me as of yet, and some day I will certainly look forward to and take action toward doing this. However, the coin situation that I am in right now does not afford in the meantime such a promise, though the idea of road trips still and always will remain an optimistic, possible, and indeed phenomenal idea to go on one. I'm going to need to just give this possibility some more time to come. Indeed, I have purchased a new car, specifically since July of this past year. It works phenomenal and extraordinary. I have not had any kind of problem with it as of yet. There has been no need to take it into a chop shop of any sort, even while given the vast amount of miles, endurance, and performance that it has inevitably and necessarily needed to go on and experience within the meantime. There's around 165,000 miles on it right now, though the car remains in excellent condition. It is a 1996 dark green Toyota Paseo, to speak more exactly, precisely one that I had bought in El Cajon sometime, I believe, for around 3,000 something abomination coin. I was able to pay for this car and had the coin for the health net insurance that I was on and had been rescinded from was taken to court in a lawsuit of some kind, and forced to send a check settlements out to former recipients that had unjustly rescinded their policy from in the process. And I likewise received a check settlement back in that month of July, I believe, for around 6,000 something abomination coin. And then I obviously went ahead and paid for the new and much greater car that is now the Toyota. Anyway, I'll certainly need to arrange for a date to work on something. Give myself a project of some sort to attend to, or go hiking and camping in the woods somewhere around here. Possibly even fish for some time once again. Yes, the backpacking trip sounds starkly harsh, brutal, profound, and intense. It will indeed promise much reward and should be exercised guardedly and successfully as an historic and heroic achievement. Backpacking on foot from California to Maine should afford very much in many lifetime memories and resources for use toward a very vivid, refined, and everlasting imagination. I do only hope, however, that the experience to endure will undoubtedly leave one alone feeling safe, secured, healthy, and prevented from any of the unnecessary dangers that should not respond to harm nor get to oneself in any kind of way. The 850 some abomination coin that I have been using to live off of has been promising rather well the living condition of my own. However, I believe the benefit is not very adequate for here in the States, yet I believe I may have mentioned about this. As of today, I've been looking into moving somewhere out of the States where the benefits amount leaves my cost of living off of in a much more plentiful and abundant state. I've been looking into pretty much random yet general areas somewhere around here to possibly live in a state such as Nevada, Oregon, Washington, or Montana. There are these biological climates around in these such states that I find to much reward. However, the idea that this is only just in its premature stages as of now, though it is for certain that I will be moving out of this cabin up here at Palmer Mountain completely by the 1st of February of this year, and that I will be moving back into Hirner's house for some time to come. However, I'm going to continue looking for a place outside of this area that is more comfortable, that is especially more affordable for my state of income in order to pay. Things in regards to all of this are still pretty much rather in the premature stages of right now. Anyway, I leave the mountain every now and then and head into town, Escondido, sometime toward an Albert's store down there in order to obtain my groceries. I would visit Eden too while down there every now and then, whereas she could potentially administer to me some warmth and company. And I think right now that this possibility might still remain intact and able enough in order to pursue and to complete. And about the rain, I look forward to this very much. I love to sit nearby the window while playing some kind of game or some such a thing while the sky is darker and cloudier, while it is raining out onto the mountain soil. The pine and cedar trees out here are ever so vivid and understandable. It will indeed look great up here whilst soon, in the meantime, I simply make use of the computer and have been lately purchasing and playing colorful video games in order to keep myself occupied while up here in the meantime. Thinking about returning to school when afterward I arrived at Hirner's place this February the 1st, sometime afterward, yet definitely soon. I don't have in mind any particular degree as it is as for now, though I will indeed think about this and consider pursuing such degrees as clinical psychology, welding, carpentry of some sort, music, even philosophy. Ha! That should be an interesting one for me. I'm thinking about getting a job once again while down there in order to make some more money, in order to make some more coin, along with the benefits that I have been receiving. Wow, there seems to have been so much to say, and that I likewise still feel things ought to be said. House, January 17, 2010. 1/24/2010. Mother, might she never be regained. Knowledge of this is indeed quite impotent of such occurrence. A determined coarseness of will, deep within such powerful yet preternatural impotency, and derelict instant resolution, that captivating just what it is, that exact, profound, certainly all-encompassing spirit, seemingly Luciferian eternae, given vast mystic and atmospherical profundity of such time and scheme, whatever is possible, wherever it is evidenced, the bleeding unto me, nearby and within, the great and vast misunderstood preservational oceanic, somewhat Teutonic, yet incumbently obscene, past impossible daylight, nor of the triumph, the fire and certainty. Further nearer, Father must not benefit. It is not even to be conceived. I did not even see it, nor did even the incubation periodically receive, prior to inevitable, sinful, yet ultimately mistaken collapse, fall and rebirth of the soul, erroneous, cosmologically lost in distance from everlasting and immortal path, secret of rightful, however virtual negativity, upon mass dismission of Christmas Day, inevitable hatred, scourge and despise of such matter, what trivial, callous, and superfluous obscenity, insult, and tumultuous tyrannism to that state, occurred in the period explicitly described in postmodern form, symbolism of creative cacophony, deep and rightly so within. Everything, however empty and embryonically discharged it is to the histrionic, horrid, abominable, and spiritless flight of the witches, that it is the mystic, profound, and verbose depth of such spirit within, that inevitably dictates from the stem upward and right, before such master-state alterical throne submission, right brilliantly within, and organic and soon separately bionical eye manifest, all moments, current willens, infectious affliction, in an end in itself, not any more nor not any less, guardianship and protection, a Brabantian pseudo-discord, and threads stemming through enough into that funereal, mystical, and positively impossible memory of Romanical, Judaical, and Tullian anciency, regime, imminent aeon of foul host, exhaustive spiritual remnants, reminder, dutiful implication of departed soul, vexation, spirit, and energy, onto the forefront, an empty remainder of such citizenship, noble and masterly physique, heart-struck, fettering moon magic, Saturnian gazer, representative maker of arms, hammers and sickles, world agrarian hunter, stalked and manifest wizard, toward a rabbinical, embryonical, restorative creatorship of such immortal, unitarian, and everlasting scheme, between darkest, most imminent scaffolds, January 24, 2010. 1/29/2010. Search writer of the apocalyptical nuclear substance, at least whatever appears before sentimental suffering, willing further manic sadistical offerings, again before rudimentary sodomical determination of applicable kinship toward literal justification. Behold visions of none before thee, likewise deep and mists inside, coming back before divisional, fervent, mutual reference in total supplication of anatomical substantial summary. We are the corpse, darkest fundamental memory in just scale of particular symmetrical surrendered flesh, falling before white ash in turbo-nuclear atavization post-render of thermo-fusional examinable source. We hear sublated power. We are before such post-obliterate anatomical surrendered mastery. Likewise, funereal, darkest magical demonstration. One statement stand before thee, to the lost eye of fallen wisdom. January 29, 2010. 2/1/2010. I'm certainly beginning to sense that it is this day on the calendar that deeply permits of an extraordinary realization and distinctive recognition of a mother bearing her firstborn son. A relativity, symmetry, alignment, and wedded ceremony. 2/1/2010. 2 threes before the entreated and indebtedly sworn phenomenon. Likewise, in spiritual essential anomaly, it is something of worth and of value that no more than what has become possessed and greatly treasured singularly throughout this unique, powerful, uncommon, and therefore exemplary events of this time and day, today. A truest, most wonderful, peculiar, and ravishingly sentimental experience that is now indeed being discovered. I've had quite a busy and ultimately tiring day today. I walked out to the pavement to see my car and check up on it if it had a flat tire. It seemed as though that all of the tires were in good condition when, after I started up the car and drove it around a bit, but then there was some metal or hard plastic plating dragging right underneath the front of the car that had become broken after all the hassle yesterday trying to get the car out of the snow, with the towman's job contributing to this too. So then I walked back to the cabin looking for some shears, a knife or anything to cut that dragging metal or hard plastic piece off of the car. I didn't find any luck with the shears, so then I walked all the way back out to the car, used the hunting knife, and successfully cut the dragging piece off. Then I drove it back. Then I drove it down the mountain a bit, making sure there were not going to be any problems with the flat tire or anything. It was doing good, so I drove all the way back down to Ocean Beach to pick up a video game that I now have had some coin for, as doing this was what I have had planned in mind a long time while earlier before the snowstorm was hit. Then I got the video game and drove into town to the bookstore in order to ship a copy of Furt Wengler's Die Meistersinger recording that should arrive within a day or two. Then I went to an old and familiar restaurant and ordered some food, finally getting that very good bean and cheese burrito there, as I once had attempted a long time ago when I was with Eden. And I ordered a grilled cheese sandwich and got one out of old memory for her. Then I headed to the grocery store by her place. By the way, I drove nearby the Wild Animal Park towards Eden's place, the mall, Lake Hodges, so many places today that I couldn't even list. All during what appears to be by chance, yet it is undoubtedly known to me that this was in truth a reality caused by fate. Anyway, I got the groceries, the ones that will last me for about a week or so. That is by the time I should be moved back to Henner's place. Then I drove back to the mountain. After refilling the tank, I did this beforehand, driving into town too. Then, when I was back, unfortunately I could only park so close to the cabin. Rather, it is that I was parked all the way out on the pavement, and so then I went ahead and dragged all the heavy groceries I got into my two hands, plus the video game, and by necessity, and hiked all the way back in the freezing cold. It's very slippery and hard to walk on ice and snow. Made it to the cabin. I was reminiscing profoundly during this time about the trip Tor and I had earlier went on, and I'm back now and I'm going to play the new video game in the meantime. After long and really tiring, yet profound, but yet powerful and profound, memorable day, February 1, 2010. 2/10/2010. First of all, there's a matter needing to be pointed out, made clear to whosoever reads this. It is rightly so and true by now that I have had a rather difficult time and experience within and throughout the course of this phenomenal train of thought in order to clarify and make clear any real truth beheld and perceptive before my individual and genuinely unique poetical audience. This has not been an easy thing, nor has it been a short or trivial journey. Sometime I feel, what more might I or will I possibly say now that it feels to me that all has been said and done, even for such a long time. Going further, I do not intend the ideas and more so the distinct visions behind my words, and to a lesser extent the music and photography, to ever become negated or dismissed. It seems as though I have come into a general and troublesome contact and association with a universal yet unique ambiguous force, the darkest substance rather that in the end appears to behold before me a genuine burden and taxing scheme to be ridden from. I'm not sure now that I could think more clearly about whether such an unknowing, individual, yet life-denying force would ever be ridden of. It seems as though that such a thing were to ultimately encapsulate, occupy, and resituate itself within my mind for quite an indefinite and thoroughly lasting amount of time. I feel as though such a thing connects with, yet submerges the faculty of reason almost in totality, and is possible for this lifetime of mine going to remain distinguished, associative, and connected within my spiritual limits and frame of intelligence. It seems as though now that when I look back and doubt my very will, as I indeed had done such a thing plentifully and abundantly in the past, that not a thing at first appears to make any influential impression or aspiring sensation out of the resulting production, only then afterward, after a long chain of forces, cause and effectiveness has taken its place and run through in the actual development and progression toward the potential and inherent knowledge within came about and drastically increased the productivity and creative substance 1,000-fold. And it seems as though that very much has been regained, reacquainted, recovered, as an epitome resolve and after effects from such misplaced behavior. Now that I look back on such a circumstantial scenario, I think to myself and realize what a beautiful yet tragically misunderstood situation that such a thing had placed itself within, and it was likewise inevitably going to run the course toward the finished goal and end complete. I cannot tolerate losing the kind of grounded footing upon the threshold to an everlasting wisdom and crowned imperial kingdom. In what way could I attempt from here on to inoculate the very dubious question and ultimate sacrilege of the universal temple from ever itself occurring? It seems as though I would inevitably need to distance myself from the very world I was hopelessly situated within, and occupied inside such residency, that in so to order myself restoratively, construct myself reparatively, and finally amend the very constitutional and fragmentary bleeding force and dubious subjectivity that actually began to command the very sentiment of his heart inside so eagerly, yet early but troublesome youth, finally throughout so very a troublesome and pessimistic end. I could not forgive nor could not forget the very erroneous, criminal, and mistaken forgery and historical outlook that so poisoned and drunk was it upon the personal manifest subjection of my state and once desired centurial condition, as bound to become maddened and thrown into bent and megalomaniacal condition due to the cause of the very ultimate and starkly real master and slave dialectics. Sometimes I feel as though the spiritual energy either within me in particular or that would surround me in general, had taken form, substantiated through bittersome, frustrating circumstance that in the end left either of the two inside a complete and uncomplimentary referral, distinctly juxtaposed, and within such troublesome opposition, wherein the cosmically infinite forces would not dare to witness any kind of incorporative gratification or ceremonial wedlock once and ever again. Such an injustice and avaricious unfairness of the state and condition of everything within and throughout could only be of service to a reprehensible destruction and an anatomical obliteration of everything surrounding it, if it were to take such a course ultimately toward the end complete, until the unchanging and impossible determination of its very pan-original phenomenon. And while in such a state and condition of everything it appears to be unchangeable and everlasting, it is positive to notice, however, that inside such a course of historical progression the evidence had taken form only in the minute and trivially fleeting and harmonious momentary force. In any event, there is much more needed to be said right here, right now, in the state and condition of the spirit. I will attempt to expand the ideas and visions deep within and powerfully embedded inside sometime further to come. February 10, 2010. 2/12/2010. There's something about the state of this world that is seemingly this distinct and peculiar element that, at least what appears to be in my mind, is time and space of civilization lost, dissolved, abused, and dismembered. I cannot even find it within any of the various forms that are being conceived and produced to this day. I feel very lonely and solitary in this strange and seemingly chaotic and chance existence. Where is it? Where is the thing in itself, at least appearing representative and conceived? I do not understand how, or for what important or significant reason, the time and setting of my existence has been determined and thrown into such active faculty of non-reason. There are the words that I choose to represent various things and ideas buried and embedded deep within the side of my dark yet brilliant subconscious. I do not even care anymore what saying such a thing as this might be conceited or badly opinionated. It simply does not matter. I cannot get over the notion of how prevalent and evident the moral system and ethical mentality of the world that is, for the most part, surrounding me can be so low, tearful, skeptical, clueless, helpless, and ultimately inferior in regard to treating the perspective of its very will encoded system of ethics on everything. It all appears the same side of the spectrum. It all is the same side of this void, though there is always and forever this other side, so untouched, untainted, and terrifying to behold, at least in regard to the ideas of the vast majority, at least in regard to the eyes of the vast majority and massive multitude of humanity. The genuine, noble, and pure intellect of this or any generation always, from what I have begun to observe, discuss, and witness, will face inevitable struggle after struggle in order to at least be recognized by newly enlightened and optimistic kind of entity. It appears that such reality is as my fate likewise, and though this is not by chance, it is unfortunate, at least in respect to the short-term life sentence of my pursuits, that such a thing will take its place, even right now as I am writing this. I wonder what rational possibility there will be in regard to the vast majority of the human race approaching, affirming, inculcating any of such masterly doctrine into the veins, and having it released to any limit or degree. Everything wills its meaning, its purpose, and its reason. This should by necessity be understood to some extent. There are various archetypal elements in regard to the meanings, be it both objectively and subjectively speaking. It is my wish, my hope, and my desire to reacquaint the western sphere of this world civilization with the great and aspiration toward numerical value and established rank and significant symbolism behind numbers and letters. It appears that I am one of the few, at least around here, in the disposition that contains the secrets and the hidden, insightful knowledge into such matter and things. There is always that fear and dread of the Kabbalah and the Tarot correspondences, and its various insights, secrets and mysteries being spoken about, discussed, or dictated toward an emasculate and uninitiated listener, and whereas the impotency and sterility instantly disgorge the discussion into very disagreeable and disheartening negation of such purpose. Such ultimately denies the very validity and significance of such inevitably correct and rightly form of intelligent discussion in its judgments. To say there is no purpose, there is not any meaning. Well, I say look around your world, look around your body and its spirits. The meaning is right here and before you. Significance and purposive reason is bound in its will and determination, and the insight into such a dimensional force and substance is clearly rooted and grounded in existence for such intellectual purpose of discussing, dividing, and reflecting such dialectic assimilation. Where is the light within such impenetrable darkness? February 12, 2010.